right, so let's go ahead and get started. I just want to start with introductions. This is our back to school night, and of course our school is virtual, but I wanted to make sure that we also had something for parents as well participating in our Virtual Learning Academy program. So I'm Liz Tovar, I'm the principal. Erin, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Erin Reyes, and I am the school counselor for Virtual Academy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Cunningham. I'm the English teacher for the Virtual Academy.
And my name is John McGowan. I'm the math teacher. If you got math, I'm your guy.
Great. Well, thank you. So teachers, you can go ahead and get ready for your live session while Ms. Reyes and I do the presentation in the main room. So thank you so much. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. As I said, this will be recorded. It's actually being recorded. I want to go ahead and move the slides along. So what we're going to cover today is just a quick program overview. Parents are curious about the overall program, how many students are in the program. So I'm going to go over that. And then of course we will have live Zoom meetings with our full-time teachers, our synchronous teachers, Mr. McGowan and Ms. Cunningham. And then I'm also going to have links to videos for our part-time teachers. So that's what we're going to cover tonight. Now, in terms of a program overview, current enrollment is currently 159 students. So we have 159 students from all of our schools in our district who are participating in the Virtual Learning Academy program. And then, of course, all teachers are using Canvas. The only school that is new to using Canvas is Del Mar. So students who attended the other schools should be very familiar with Canvas. And that's the platform that our teachers are using in order to give homework, and then also, of course, for students to turn in their work. So Canvas is the main platform that our teachers are using to give out the work, give out instruction. I do have two full-time teachers teaching synchronous classes, and that's Mr. McGowan and Ms. Cunningham, who introduced themselves at the beginning. And then I do have 3 part-time teachers also teaching synchronous classes, but they're only teaching one section, but students do attend a live meeting with them at their designated time. And then I have 17 teachers teaching asynchronous classes. So those are my full-time teachers teaching at their home site and picking up a section for Virtual Learning Academy. Now, for the asynchronous classes, I just want to make sure that parents know that students still have to meet with their teachers once a week. So for their asynchronous classes, teachers are posting work in Canvas, and students have to do the work. They have an entire week to complete the work. However, they do have to meet with their teachers once a week. What I want to explain really tonight is our online platforms that we use through the Virtual Learning Academy program. And I know this has been somewhat confusing both for parents and students, but we are using several platforms. And tonight I'm going to take the opportunity to present the different platforms and what they look like and how to access those platforms. So what I'm going to cover tonight is Odyssey-ware, Odyssey-ware Academy, Edgenuity, and of course Canvas, which we spoke about. So let's get started. So Odyssey-ware is a platform that we are using for students who are taking elective courses. So this is what the icon looks like for the Odyssey-ware Academy. Now the Odyssey-ware Academy, the Odyssey-ware program is a single sign-in. So students can click on here, and this is really their, when they go to student resources or parent resources, students are taken to this page. All of the platforms that are used by the district are on this page. Here is Odyssey-ware. As I said earlier, Odyssey-ware is a single sign-on. So as long as students are logged in to their district Google account, they can sign in. It's a single sign-on. I won't sign in because it's my platform, but students do not need a password to get in to Odyssey-ware. So the students who are taking Odyssey-ware are taking Odyssey-ware. They're taking their elective classes through this platform. The next platform that we have is Odyssey-ware Academy. OdysseyWare Academy is where some students are taking, for example, Spanish or biology or any other core class that we may not have a teacher assigned to. So the same thing, students would go into the resources, the student resources through the district, would take them to this page, and then OdysseyWare Academy is right here. So this is what the OdysseyWare Academy icon looks like. Now the OdysseyWare Academy, unlike OdysseyWare, does require a student to log in, requires a login and a password. All students have received their login and password and should be well underway in terms of working on their class. If there are any issues, students just need to email us and we will help with any login issues. But all students should already have their login information. The next program is platform is Edgenuity. Now, very few students are taking courses through Edgenuity. Edgenuity is providing the courses that students are taking in terms of AP courses, and then the higher level language classes. So I have a couple of students taking French 3 through Edgenuity, but primarily the students that are taking a class through Edgenuity are the students who are taking AP courses. Now Edgenuity, the same thing, students will go to their student resource page, and Edgenuity is this icon right here where it says Edgenuity. And similar to OdysseyWare Academy, students taking an Edgenuity course, of course, have to have a login and a password. Again, these logins and passwords were sent to students. It comes directly from Edgenuity. Students should already be working on these courses and have been working on these courses for the last couple of weeks. The last is Canvas. So again, as I mentioned earlier, Canvas is where students will log in to do all of their work for their asynchronous classes. So for example, if a student is taking a physics class, they would go into Canvas. If they're taking a US history class, say they're taking a US history class with Mr. Posey, they would go to Canvas, and it's the same thing. They would go into the same student resources page, and this is where they would find Canvas. Canvas is also a single sign-in. As long as they are signed in with their with their district account, they will have access to Canvas. So as soon as they select Canvas, they can go right into their classes. And all of their classes are listed on Canvas. That is where the teachers are posting not only assignments, but also when they are meeting with their students. As I mentioned earlier, all students taking a class need to meet with their teachers at least once a week. Teachers have different times set up for the students. So parents, as you have noticed, students do need to be organized in terms of their time and how they're managing their time throughout the day. Email, I want to talk about email, and I see that there are some hands raised and we can address those questions. Please feel free to ask a question in the Q&A, and Ms. Reyes can help answer some of those questions. Otherwise, we can answer them after the presentation. But I really want to stress email is so important for students to check a couple of times a day. That really is our primary form of communication. So it is so important for students to make sure that they are checking their email a couple of times a day. Parents, please help your students clean out their email by creating folders. When I have had meetings with families, I usually ask to see students' emails. Some students have had over 1,000 emails, and it gives me heart palpitations because I want to make sure that they aren't missing any emails from us. So it's critical for students to check their email a couple of times a day. And of course, that is the way that they could communicate with myself or with a counselor or with any of their teachers, of course, in our program. So this is what I want to show. Hopefully this is big enough for everybody to see, but this is a sample of student schedule. Now, I talked about the asynchronous classes. So for example, right here, we have US History with Mr. Posey, and it's asynchronous. And what this means is that students need to go to their Canvas to get the work assigned for US History, and they need to also know when they're going to meet with Mr. Posey, that once a week check-in. But this US History class is asynchronous. So what I want families to really look at and students to really pay attention to is it asynchronous, meaning they're going to go to Canvas and get their work? Or is it synchronous, meaning that they are going to attend this class at a specific time, at a specific period? For example, this student has English 3, 5th period, synchronous with Miss Cunningham. So this is a class that they would have to attend during B days, which is 5th period. So we are on a rotating schedule, just like all the schools in the district. So the Virtual Learning Academy program is following that AB schedule, and we are doing a rotation. For example, let's see, next the student has integrated math, and that's 6th period, and it's also synchronous, and that's with Mr. McGowan. So this student has 2 synchronous classes, meaning that they need to attend 5th and 6th period during those times and during those periods. Now, physics is through Odyssey-Ware Academy, which was the program that I showed earlier. So, and that is asynchronous, and then the student has a general elective class and a psychology class, both through Odyssey-Ware. And of course, those classes are asynchronous. So being in this program really requires students to be organized with their time and to make sure that they're attending all of their classes, both their synchronous and of course their weekly scheduled asynchronous classes. So it's important for parents and students to understand the schedule, and any questions you can certainly ask us. I hope that, parents, you have found that myself and Ms. Reyes have been very responsive through email. So we usually get back to you within a couple of hours or by the next day. So please feel free to reach out to us. So that is a sample of a student schedule that I wanted to make sure that parents we're able to see. And really what we're focusing on is it asynchronous or is it synchronous? And if it's synchronous, what period is it being taught? So I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Reyes, who will talk a little bit about counseling.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Erin Reyes. I'm the school counselor. And I just want to refresh and review the services that I provide as the counselor. I am a resource to your student. And so what I do is I provide academic counseling, which, it could look in different ways in supporting students academically, and that could be providing support with their classes. Let's say they may be having some trouble or just having a hard time with some classes. I'm always happy to meet with the students to talk about that and problem solve. Also scheduling courses in the springtime is usually when we start talking about course requests for the following school year. And then just basic life skills like time management, especially in the Virtual Learning Academy program, that is super important in keeping track of, when your class is scheduled, especially asynchronous classes, when are your students choosing to log into those classes, and then keeping a calendar, keeping track of everything, just talking about organization, things like that. I also provide college and career counseling, and so that includes, talking about like college and career exploration, using a platform that our district uses called Naviance, which is a great way for our students to start that exploration and just start thinking about what they want to do after high school. And of course, reviewing not only high school graduation requirements, but if their plan is to go to college, maybe apply to a four-year university, ensuring that they are meeting those college entrance requirements, reviewing their transcript, making the classes to meet those requirements, right? So yeah, all of that. Seniors, especially in the fall, is when it is time to apply to four-year colleges. And so we'll be hosting a presentation and some workshops just to support our students with that process. And also social emotional counseling. I do provide brief counseling for any social emotional needs, concerns, but we continue to partner with your child's home school. And if they are looking for more regular mental health services, we do have Cassie, and that is something I can connect the family with, make a referral. So, whatever support the student needs, just provide those resources. As Ms. Tovar has mentioned, email is the best way to contact us. For those of you who may have started Virtual Academy after the first day of the school year, just want to remind you all, let you all know that I am a counselor of 4 different programs. So I'm not just the counselor for Virtual Academy, I am also the counselor for Middle College, College Advantage, as well as SVCTE. And with that being said, I do have a few sites to report to. Physically, I'm everywhere. Every week, almost every day, it's a different site location. And so email is the best way to contact me. One thing that is in the works, I am hoping to set up a Canvas counseling page for our students so that they can access my resources right away. One thing I really want to emulate moving forward so that students can access me a little bit easier. And thinking about, if we think about if we were in person, it's very easy to just walk into the counseling office before school or during lunch. And just ask your counselor a quick question. And so instead of having to, let me send an email to my counselor, I'm hoping to create office hours for our students. So if they have quick questions, they need to do a quick check-in, they can just go onto the Canvas counseling page, click on that Zoom link, and then we can just, have a quick meeting. That way it's set and I'm more accessible. And it's just another way of communication. So that's in the works. Hoping to set that up on Mondays and Wednesdays. Timing is to be determined. But as always, students and parents can always request to set up a Zoom meeting. In addition to that, or outside of those Zoom office hours. So. And then just one more announcement. I kind of mentioned this, but I do plan to host a senior presentation, and that is coming up in 2 weeks. And I will, once I have the Canvas counseling page up and ready to go, I will have this information posted. The Zoom link will be available at that time, but I will host a presentation for our seniors on Wednesday, September 22nd from 10 to 11 a.m. And I know some students are doing some of their check-ins with their asynchronous teachers. If you're not able to make it, it will be recorded. I'll post it so everyone can access it. But yeah, just to talk about, plans after high school. If your senior student is planning to apply to four-year college, what's that process? What's the timeline? All things college, community college, transfer process, certificate programs, military, things like that. So I want to be able to push all the information out to all the seniors. So yeah, that will be in a couple weeks, and a couple more things in the works. Thinking about my 9th through 11th graders, I don't want to leave you all out. So I want to make sure that I can provide grade level specific information to 9th through 11th grade. So yeah, that will be coming too. Hopefully all of that will be pushed through Canvas.
Great, thank you, Ms. Reyes. Oh, I guess I could do this one. So again, I think what the theme of tonight is really stressing email communication. It is critical for students to send myself or Ms. Reyes an email if they need help. And I can't stress enough that we really need to hear from the students because we need firsthand information. I know sometimes parents are at work and their students are emailing them or calling them that they need help. I want to relieve some stress from the parents. I want the students to email us directly so that we can help them. So we can possibly get on a Zoom, get on the phone, or email back and forth to resolve any issues they may be having. So this is actually my last slide. I am so happy to announce that the district is partnering with a tutoring program called Paper. I actually sent out this information to everybody through Parent Square last week. And it's really easy for students to register to get on. They could have access to a tutor 24/7. So this really meshes well with our virtual learning academy program because students may need support at different times, different days. So I am encouraging students to please make use of this program that the district is offering for everybody. It's very easy to log in. Students just need to go to the website, and then of course they just need to type in their school's name. They would put in Virtual Learning Academy, and then they would log in with their Google CUHSD account. So it's very easy to access this program. I also want to mention that there are tutors in different languages. So please, students, take advantage of this opportunity to have a tutor available 24/7. Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't my last slide. Reminder to sign contracts. So as of this morning, I was still missing over 100 signatures, either from parents or students. So we have students that have signed the contracts, but the parents haven't, or vice versa. The parent has signed it, but the student hasn't signed it. So please, parents, look through your email. Ms. McCarthy sent out the contract, and it is a requirement for students to remain in the program to sign those contracts. So we were given a 30-day extension. So from the first day of school, so we need these contracts signed as soon as possible. Please look at your emails and make sure that you get this contract signed. And again, this is really the end of our presentation, and I want to give you time. It looks like I've gone a little bit over. I've run into Mr. McGowan's time for the live Zoom instruction.
We have one more question.
Yes, go ahead.
To help answer. The question is, do I need to have check-ins with teachers for Odysseyware or Edgenuity?
That is a great question. No, you don't need to have check-ins for Odysseyware or Edgenuity. However, there is an exception. If you only have classes through Odysseyware or Edgenuity, you must have a weekly check-in. I only have about 6 students who are in this situation where they are checking in either with Ms. Sadak or with Mr. Reynolds. But if you, for example, have a CUHSD teacher, then you won't have check-ins with Edgenuity or with Odysseyware. But if you only are taking asynchronous through our Edgenuity, Odysseyware, or Odysseyware Academy, then you have been assigned to a teacher. But again, that is a very, very small group. I think I have under 10 students who fall in that category. But that's a great question. Thank you for clarifying. Okay, it looks like that was the end of the questions. I am going to go ahead and let everybody go to make sure that they get to their next sessions. Again, thank you very much for coming to our Back to School Virtual Academy program. Thank you and good night.
Welcome to Back to School Night. I'm Angela Cunningham. I'm the English teacher for the Virtual Learning Academy. And I'm going to show you a few things about the way I teach and how my class works. Okay, so this is actually my 15th year of teaching, and I spent 9 years at Branham and 5 years at Boynton. So I really love my time at the Campbell Union High School District. I absolutely love working for this district. I have a bachelor's degree in English and a master's degree in education administration, both of which I got at San Jose State. One thing I learned in my master's program was that I do not want to be an administrator because I love teaching so much. Being an administrator was not for me, but I did love getting that side of education and learning about all aspects of a school. I am the English teacher, the full-time teacher for the Virtual Learning Academy. So I teach 9th, 10th, and 12th grade. So I teach all the sections of English. You know, there's some English teachers that are teaching asynchronous classes, but I am the full-time English teacher. A glimpse into my classroom is that I use a lot of instructional technologies. So one thing that I love is Pear Deck, and we'll get to that. That allows me to have a really interactive classroom. And I'm going to show you sort of what that looks like. All of my content is put onto Google Slides first. As you can see, we use Zoom here at the Virtual Learning Academy. And through Zoom, I like to use even some breakout rooms. I think that some students joined the Virtual Learning Academy because they really wanted to be away from other students. Some students joined the Virtual Learning Academy for other reasons. Either way, I think that the opportunity to collaborate and at least work a little bit together in breakout rooms can be really refreshing for students. I don't do it every class, but I do it sometimes. As you already know, our learning management system is Canvas. And so this is where I put all of my content. And I use Newsella, which is a news system for kids, essentially. So it's broken down by reading level and students can interact with the text. So I wanted to take you on a quick tour of my Canvas so that you can see where I keep the really important bits for students to see. The first thing that you'll notice on my homepage right here is this Zoom link, and this is where students join my class. This is called modules, and this is where all of my course content is, and I'm going to give you a better look at that in just a moment. This right here is an announcement, and this has the Virtual Learning Academy AB calendar on it, as well as the course schedule and a different announcement. I think this is really important because I know that the rolling block AB schedule is really confusing for students. I do try to review it with them each class, but the best thing that they can do every morning if they're curious about what class they have is to check the AB calendar, and then I'll check their schedule to see exactly what class they should be in. I'm going to talk about my office hours a bit in a moment here, but this is where students can join me in my office hours. This link, they click on that link and then they'll get right to me. And what I'm doing is I'm sitting there on this call, excited to talk to students and to help students out. So it's not something that they have to make an appointment for. Click on this link and come right in. And you can come in too. So all content, as I was saying, is in the modules. Here's a typical look here. So every day I put all of my content onto a slide, a Google Slides, and it takes us through the lesson bit by bit. So if students are absent, they can see everything that they missed. In addition, I put content into the module so that students are able to look and see any materials that they need. Right? So here's a piece of classwork that we had done, and here was the homework, and it's usually labeled. So in addition to looking at the day's slides, and the day's slides tell students exactly what I covered, there's also the course materials. And then in class resources and templates, you can find my course syllabus. So it depends on what section that your student is in, but the course syllabus is always going to be here in this class resources and templates. So there's a lot of materials here. I don't leave much to the imagination in my modules. I make things very clear. I'd rather provide too much information rather than not enough. Ooh. Here we go. Okay, we got lots of people, which is great. I've always loved back to school night because I really love interact with parents. Believe it or not, this is my first virtual back to school night. So I'm very excited to see you all here. Okay, and my schedule had us starting just a little bit earlier, so I'm just going to go back a moment. Just a couple of slides. And then people who watch the video later, they're just a little refresher because that's the way it goes sometimes. Like I said, I pride myself on being very, very clear with students, and I'm going to make this no exception to that. Okay, so what I had said was that in my classroom, I use a variety of instructional technologies. Of course, I use Canvas, and I like to use Zoom, including sometimes breakout rooms so that students have a chance to interact with each other. And Pear Deck, which I'm going to get into. Of course, all my content is on Google Slides. Okay, so what I had mentioned was that students have access to all of the main information that they need on my homepage, including how to access my office hours. And my office hours are 4 days of the week, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And every day I create these Google Slides, and the slides go through everything I'm doing in the lesson. So I don't do anything that's off the slides, really. It's not like I say, oh, let's wing it, and then I don't have a slide. As I'm teaching, I'm doing it like I'm talking to you right now, where I have a slide right in front of me. So anytime students are absent, they can always access the slides. Anytime they feel like I went too fast or they need to see something again, they can always access the slides. And then I also have the materials for the day, right? So for example, here's a piece of classwork in case a student were absent. And this is also what we do is this is how they access it during class as well. So during class, I take students into Canvas and I say, okay, now you click on the quality evidence classwork. I might also have things linked in the slides for added convenience. And then here we have the homework assignment, right? So you can see this link right here shows that it's a link as opposed to an assignment. And then here is like a little piece of paper with a pen that shows that it's an actual assignment they're going to submit, has a due date. So Canvas I like because it's pretty clear. It's just some students find it complicated at first. If your student is new to Canvas, they will get used to it. And my course syllabus is available in the class resources and templates. Okay, now as far as Pear Deck goes, it's really fun. It's a great way with distance learning to have engagement and participation. So here's just an example, right? Students would have a little icon and they could do it over the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Of course, this is just like a getting to know you type slide. I do it more with content, right? So sometimes there's opportunities for them to draw with their mouse, or they can just type if they don't want to do that. A lot of times I'll do short answer reflections to things. So this is just a couple examples of what Pear Deck can do. But what I really like is that Pear Deck gives me a printout of exactly how students participated and what they said. So I can see how much they participated later. Instead of, I mean, I don't know what your experience is with working via Zoom, but sometimes it can be a little bit hectic. And I think if I were in charge of really tracking student participation in the moment while running the Zoom, while letting people in from the waiting room, while responding to people in the chat, I think I might actually go crazy. That would be an impossible job that I wouldn't be able to do. So what I love about Pear Deck is that I have that in-class participation, but I also have a record of it that I can go back to later. And this also allows me to track when students have maybe not been so participatory. So then I can see when they haven't joined, I can see when they haven't answered the question yet. And this is why students really need to be like alert and aware. I do remind students of my class meeting expectations. And one of the big rules we have is that the camera must be on, unless students have spoken to me about this. And I do have some students who have very important reasons why they can't have their camera on. Sometimes I have students whose technology just isn't really working that day, or their internet is lagging and the camera is going to make it so much worse. So they just ask me if they can have it off for that day, which is totally fine. But it's very important to me that I not just teach a sea of black boxes with names. And I have a list of students for every class who have permission to not have their camera on. And I check that list every time I have class, because of course I don't expect I would remember the list every single moment. And I update the list, right? Oh, so-and-so's gotten a new camera now, we're good. Or so-and-so's camera is broken right now, just so that I know. And I just think that's really important, because it's not a lot of interaction. As you know, students have a lot of asynchronous classes, and they have a lot of time to get their work done. So when we're doing the synchronous classes, I like to see faces, have people in the room when possible. One of the real strengths of the Virtual Learning Academy is office hours. So if you look, this is 4 days a week, 45 minutes a day. And I think it's great because students can get help or clarity with an assignment or content. They can catch up on what they missed if they were absent. They can inform me of anything important that's coming up for them. They can make up a quiz. This time is very, very, very important for students, okay? It's extremely important, because otherwise they act like, oh, I don't know what to do. I didn't know how to access this. I'm confused, I'm lost. Maybe they miss a class. And I just say, always come into my office hours. Let me know what you need, because I'm super happy to talk with them and get them all caught up. So I do feel like office hours are the answer. If you feel that your student is confused, behind, frustrated, suggest that they attend my office hours, because that's going to be a great way to get them caught up. Okay, so the way that grades work for most of the grades, seniors it's a little bit different, is it's 30% formative assessments, which informative is helping to build something. So those are like smaller homework assignments, and where I'm testing like 1 to 2 skills that we learned that day. Whereas the summative is the work that they do to show me the skills that we've been learning throughout the unit. And you can see this is a much larger percentage, because that is the goal, is for students to show academic mastery. For seniors, the amount is even just a little bit different, because we're trying to get them geared towards that college mindset where really, you know, they have a midterm, a final, and a paper. It's all about summative assessments in a lot of aspects of life. So it's mostly these lower grades where the formative assessments matter as much. Formative assessments are still really important though. And then this is, of course, the grading scale adopted by the district and by the board. And these are all my syllabi. So again, you can find these in my course resources, but here's just an example, and it'll take you through. Every parent was, I emailed this to you, and then there was even a form to see if you got it at the end. But then you can also see like what your student will be learning and that sort of thing. And of course you can contact me. So, you know, it occurred to me when I was getting this together that, hey, what if parents came to my office hours? You certainly can. You're more than welcome. But of course you can also message me through my email. And you can message me through Canvas, which is the way that most parents tend to communicate with me, and that's great. So at this point, I would love to offer the floor up to any questions that you might have.
What's your policy on late submissions?
So students have 2 weeks to submit work where they might have been absent or something like that. And of course, for a major assessment, I can't just have like a 2-week window for an essay. I would need to have a really strong reason for why that major assessment was late. And the same thing goes for other assignments. You know, there has to be a reason why the student is turning it in late. It can't just be because they felt like they wanted the extra time. But of course, with the Virtual Learning Academy, work completed is a part of attendance. So I do have some flexibility. It's just that I can't be going back too far to, you know, grade work. If it just keeps popping up in my grade book, that won't work. So after 2 weeks, it's just a no. And within that 2 weeks, there needs to be a good reason or explanation for why it's late. Great question.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Hello and welcome to the back to school night presentation for John McGowan. There's my contact info, and here's a picture of a classroom I once had. I liked it. Information on me: I have a bachelor's of science in mathematics, a master's degree in education. I've been teaching in the Campbell Union High School District for 9 years and in the public school system for 16 years. Class is organized. There's a twice-a-week live lecture and a 1-day-a-week of offline work. All materials are available through Canvas. And 4 times a week we have office hours. I will show you where to get information on that later on. I'm going fast because I've only got 4 minutes. How will your child be graded? Well, standard lettered scale, but the course uses weighted grading, which means that if each category is divided up into a certain percentage of the student's overall grade. So as you can see, if a child says if a child doesn't do their homework, they won't drop but 1 letter grade. So it is a more balanced approach. Participation, how is that scored? Well, you have couple of categories, like whole class answers. I ask a question everyone is expected to answer in the chat box. And then participation, I just put up a slide like this, where the students have to be paying attention to know they should type this word. Like, I don't say anything, it's just a matter of are they paying attention. So all those are plugged into a spreadsheet and scored as participation. You can check your child's assignments and grades on Canvas at any point, so let's go look at that right now. I'm using a specific class, but all my websites look the same. In the homepage of the math class, you will see you can get a course syllabus, gives the rules and routines. There's also information, there's a direct Zoom link for each live class period. There's the code and passcode, or you can get to the Zoom links through the Zoom tab. There's a virtual academy bell scheduled if you need to see it, and a calendar of all days in this class. Again, it's different for different classes. It's just specific to IM2. It'll tell the students when class is for Zoom and when class is for asynchronous. There's a textbook link, so you can see the textbooks we're using. We're going to be using several throughout the year. There's extra help. There's a list of all days I have office hours. It's from 11:15 to noon, and the passcodes and such are there. There's also a direct link right there. If your child is absent and they need to see the materials again, they can go to the modules tab. And let me collapse all. Each entry is its own day. Within each day, you'll find there's a list of the topics we went over, a lecture video, which is just me going through the examples and asking the students to do the work. So they can watch the entire thing. It takes 15 to 20 minutes. And so they can see the exact lecture that I gave. And then homework answers from previous homework, and then new homework with individual video help for individual problems. And then whatever activities we did that are referenced in the review video. So if your child is absent, they can see the exact lecture and do the exact work and send questions by email. If your child just wants to look again, it's available there. Again, here's my contact info if you need it.